Hello everyone, my name is Indiana Pramitasari and now in my presentation in critical reading, I want to presentation about fiction or non-fiction. Let's start today's. Okay, in critical reading and the lecturer is Mr. Alphonsus Glory. I want to share my presentation about fiction or non-fiction. In this fiction, the category of book or story can be called either fiction or non-fiction. I have two different. Is fiction is A is a made-up story. Two is can tell about things that could happen, and three is character may be like real people or imaginary. And then non-fiction is has 2 points. Is one is has fact that can be checked and proven, and two is the author is an expert on this information. Next is fiction or non-fiction. Fiction is a story is created from the author imagination, and the story are created. Three is animal or object can talk, wear clothes, and have job. It's not real. It's fiction. It's not real. And the people in the story can do things people cannot really do. Story might have funny picture. Where the nonfiction, nonfiction is there are three main form of fiction. It's one novel, two novella, and three is short story. In novel, is long work of fiction contain the basic element of fiction, may contain the subplots along with the main plot. Subplot is independent related story. It's a real when fiction is not real, and the non-fiction is real when form of fiction, just like novel, novella, short story, fable, and everything is not real. Just like the main character is just like a fable is a animal. When the nonfiction, we are the autobiography, biography, or everything. Okay, then the two is novella. Novella is shorter than a novel but longer. It's a three. The short story is a brief work of fiction, contain the basic element of fiction, one main plot, one conflict, and most can be read in one sitting. Next is genre of fiction. Genre of on fiction is one is mystery. Mystery is a typical involves the investigation of a crime, most often one or more murder. Is two is horror. Horrors are meant to frighten or disgust its reader. Three is a fantasy story, use magic or supernatural as a primary plot element, theme, or setting, just like a Harry Potter story, movie, uh, everything just like that is novel, is galaxy, or everything is fiction, is not real. We are the imaginary is the author. And three is fantasy. Fantasy story use a magic or supernatural as a primary plot element, theme or setting. When the science fiction is also difficult to define, generally referred to plausible futuristic story ranging from the rigorous hard science fiction to social science fiction and space opera. Science fantasy occupies a middle ground between fantasy and science, and so on. Next is I want to show about non-fiction. Non-fiction is just like story is true and factual story are about real people. It's the fact. It's not just like a fable, but just like a real person. And the book gives information might have map or real picture. Picture have caption describing the photograph and index the back help find information. And three is might have a glossary which defines some word. And map is text that is true based on real information. So in this form of nonfiction text is just like a newspaper, encyclopedias, textbook, dictionary, scholastic, news, and magazine. In the form of nonfiction is have a two broad categories of nonfiction are literary nonfiction and functional text. Is this one is literary nonfiction has element of fiction. For example, it might use a vivid description, a dramatic writing style, or poetic language. Next is functional text. In functional text, give instruction, show direction, explain rules, provide other information that help you complete procedure, often use with illustration or graphic. And I think it's that's all, guys. So now you can know about fiction, different fiction and non-fiction, and for the example and everything just like that. This is the end of my presentation in this section, and hope you like it. My video presentation, and thank you very much about listening and see my YouTube channel, and thank you. See you.